Finn and Jake beatbox over breakfast, suddenly feeling the entire treehouse shake. The duo head outside, finding weird multicolored Goombas at their doorstep. Finn, Jake, and Me-Mow all gush about the cute little creatures, the cute king vowing to kill the trio for their mockery. The marshmallow Goombas head out, threatening Jake's burrito as they walk away. Jake's paranoia gets to him, believing the burrito to be poisoned and burying it out in the backyard. At midnight that night, Jake frantically wakes Finn up, claiming someone had broken in. The boys find the Goombas trying to kill them in their sleep, catching one imitating their mom's voice from a hiding spot. Finn grabs a hold of the cute creature, showing off his prime parenting skills and shaking the hell out of the creature. When the creature finally stops thrashing around, he tells Finn and Jake that the cute people have been stalking them, planning to kill them when they least expect it. After the creature escapes, Finn and Jake set up barricades, waiting until the morning for the army of cute people to attack. Finally, the cute king shows up with his army, but they quickly stumble over themselves and retreat. The duo tails them, finding the cute king scolding his army for never being able to win the war. Finn comes up with an idea to help the cute people, convincing Jake, LSP, Cinnamon Bun, Me-Mow, and a duck to pretend to lose the war against the cute king's army. The plan works at first, but quickly falls apart when Jake starts laughing his ass off. The cute king once again sad. Finn realizes the solution to the cute king's problems, teaching him how to manipulate people with his cuteness. Kinda sounds like my dog. Anyway, the episode ends with the cute king manipulating Ice King into making him a sandwich. This episode is a sweet watch. It's nice to get more of Finn's compassionate plans, trying his best to uplift people who literally vowed to kill him and his family. There's also some funny moments here from Jake. Overall, I would say this episode is good, but a little weak to start season 3, especially after the incredibly strong first couple episodes of season 2. Fun fact, this is the last full episode to use the old animation style, but don't worry, it keeps faithful and is basically just more smoothed out. Double fun fact, Me-Mow is shown to be gender fluid more and more. Jake calling Me-Mow Milady in this episode.
You wanna just smash them all?
What?
Now, I know what you're thinking, what the hell does Morituri Te Salutamus mean? Well, it actually comes from a Latin phrase often being translated to English as, "We who are about to die salute you," a saying that's often associated with ancient Roman gladiators. Anyway, Finn and Jake get done saving hedgehogs from a burger monster, suddenly hearing what sounds to be a gladiator pit. The duo walks up to the gates, finding the Fight King sitting on a throne. The duo immediately sniffs out that it's a trap, but it's Finn and Jake, so they go get cursed anyway. The duo takes on the gladiator ghosts, ones that seem to be in eternal torment, spewing vague FNAF-style one-liners that I refuse to analyze. The Fight King sends the pair underground, allowing them rest until they decide to fight again. The rest of the episode consists of Finn and Jake's differing plans. Finn going to fight the ghost with a dummy Jake, while Jake digs for lava to make a hula hoop. It's best not to question it. Finn keeps beating ghost gladiators, Jake noticing that he was slowly developing a bloodlust. Eventually, Finn's mind gets corrupted by his need to fight, the Fight King ordering Finn to defeat Jake. After a one-sided fight where Jake tries to subdue Finn rather than beat him, Finn convinces the Fight King to grant him his sword. Finn smashes the sword on the ground, killing the Fight King and freeing all the gladiator ghosts. Turns out Finn's bloodlust was just an act the whole time. The episode ends with the duo watching gladiator ghosts move on. Okay, this episode should have opened for season 3. Everything about this episode is so cool. We get to see Finn's improved fighting skills, showing off moves that I don't think he possessed in something like Dungeon from season 1. I also love Jake's Tropical Island song. It's honestly such a highlight. This episode's concept is undeniably badass. I love how each pair of ghost gladiators seem to be connected, maybe even the Finn and Jake of their times. And the cherry on top, Finn saves the gladiators from their eternal torment, true hero style. Fun fact, the Fight King's sword reads "To fight is to live" in runic code.
Yeah!
That prize kinda stinks. Let's go, Finn. My thighs hurt.
Aw, man.
Finn and Jake transport an old man to Marceline's house, the man claiming that Marceline was in grave danger. The three find Marceline passed out in her living room, the old man explaining that she had cast a sleep spell on herself, only able to be woken up if the duo travel inside her mind and erase the spell from her memories. Finn and Jake let the old man transport them into Marceline's head, going through different memories. First, we see Marceline as a child, fixing her stuffed animal named Hambo in an apocalyptic world. Secondly, we see Hunson eating some fries, clearly the fry situation described in season 2. Thirdly, we see Marceline when she first lived in the duo's treehouse, moving in with some guy by the name of Ash, or what I like to call him, Super Douche. Finally, the duo get to the memory of Marceline and Ash's breakup, Ash having sold Hambo to a witch for a new wand. Remember that, because this actually does matter seasons later. Anyway, Marceline dumps Ash and the duo make it to the memory core. The memory core is animated in a nice silhouetted shot, the duo getting the memory and returning to the real world. In a horrible twist, the old man reveals himself to be Ash, having had the duo erase the breakup memory. Yep, Super Douche. Say what you want about Bubblegum, but she isn't the ex that roofied Marceline and brainwashed her into being together together again. And with that, Ash takes Marceline to his house for a date. Finn and Jake trail Ash, coming to his house to crash their date. Jake distracts Ash while Finn sneaks in, bringing Marceline into his memories. Because Finn saw the memory in Marceline's head, he's able to restore it for her, ending the episode by going outside to kick Ash's ass. This episode is killer. It's a really cool concept, and I like that we get to see some more insight on Marceline's past, especially the brief glimpse of Ooh post-Mushroom War. It's too bad we didn't get to see any memories with Bonnie or Simon, but obviously they didn't have those storylines ready to go yet. Ash is probably the most infuriating villain that show has had yet, and his plan is super fucked up if you really think about it. Also, Finn being able to restore Marceline's memory with his was really cool. I know it's the obvious solution, but I don't know, I find it awesome. Fun fact, in Finn's memory of his childhood house, a picture of Margaret, the duo's mom, can be seen with lots of other dogs. This could indicate that Finn and Jake have more siblings than Jermaine, but we never see any of them, so I'm gonna assume these dogs are relatives or something like that. Season 3 is very solid so far.
I'm a tough tootin' baby, I can punch in your buns. Punch in your buns, I can punch all your buns. If you're an evil witch, I will punch you for fun.
Ice King sneaks through Breakfast Princess's window, doing whatever the hell this is. BP calls Finn and Jake, the duo bursting in to deal with Ice King. The duo ground Ice King for 4 whole weeks, causing him to throw a tantrum. Ice King paces around his room, suddenly coming up with a perfect plan. Ice King calls up the Scorcher, a horrifying hitman that forces a Cactus Jack contract on him. Once signed, Scorcher begins to burn down the duo's treehouse, Ice King rushing over to put it out. The Ice King then goes back to the castle, scolding Scorcher for trying to burn the duo instead of hitting them. Yes, this entire episode is Ice King not understanding what a fucking hitman is. After another Scorcher attempt that Ice King has to thwart, he begs Scorcher to renegotiate the deal, to which he's obviously unsuccessful. Ice King tries to find a new hitman to hit Scorcher, but goddamn is Scorcher powerful. Ice King makes a break for it, rushing to the treehouse to get Finn and Jake's help. A chase ensues, Ice King having to use his powers to defend Scorcher's Clash Royale fireballs. Ice King comes up with a plan, freezing the duo until their pulses stop. Scorcher figures the duo is dead, leaving Ice King be now that the deal was finished. The episode ends with Ice King slowly reheating the boys with his ass. Man, season 3 is just not letting up with the quality episodes. Ice King steals the show in this episode, really redeeming his hilariousness after what he did in season 2. I also think Scorcher is a really cool villain, but I don't think he's in the show much after this. Just a little side note, I love how Breakfast Princess is drawn. It's a really cool design, being an egg woman with a bacon crown and a toast dress. Just ignore the cannibalism. Fun fact, a small yellow creature can be seen poking out of Jake's sandwich in this shot.
How about this prize piece for your pad? I wanna live, live, live. I wanna live, live, live.
If you've been paying attention, you know I'm gonna shit on this episode, but let's take a step back for a moment and just recap it. We finally get to see PB after the ending of season 2, still being Finn's age and working on science. Finn calls Jake pep talking Finn about the apparent date. Oh man, I already want to talk about this. Anyway, Manfred announces the arrival of a new face in the Candy Kingdom, the Earl of Lemongrab. Yes, I know he's unfortunately voiced by that thing, but let's just overlook it because the character is still pretty funny. Lemongrab states that PB is too young to rule, being heir to the throne until she returns to normal age. Bonnie explains how she created Lemongrab, the experiment going wrong and resulting in his spazziness, and C means he's technically her son. The kingdom is his. Lemongrab begins to dick around, sending innocents to the dungeon and such. Finn and Bonnie spend the day pranking Lemongrab, doing things like rage baiting in the DMs and feeding him spicy poison. Unfortunately, the pranks result in Bonnie and Finn getting jailed too, Bonnie realizing that she'll have to return to an adult. Bonnie reveals that she'd been postponing the change back, wanting to stay young because her adult life is very hectic, and as we'll learn in later seasons, Bonnie's childhood was really messed up and difficult. That's why she loves spending time with Finn, showing her the good side of being a kid. In a really sweet display, the candy people offer a piece of themselves to Bonnie, helping her regrow into her adult self. The last part of the equation is love and affection, Bonnie and Finn sharing a hug, and we'll get to this. Anyway, Bonnie becomes an adult again, reclaiming the throne from Lemongrab and setting everyone free. At the end of the episode, Finn wonders if Bonnie wanted to hug some more, Bonnie laughing it off and telling Finn to move on. The episode ends with Jake telling Finn to keep pursuing. Thanks a lot, Jake. Okay, this is gonna be a long one. On one hand, I like this episode for what it illustrates about Bonnie, just wanting to be young again and live a happy childhood she never got. Lemongrab also steals the show here, along with a sweet moment with the candy people. So now here comes my problem, the relationship. I hate that they push Bonnie and Finn as a couple are dating here, especially when it seems so one-sided on Finn's part. I truly believe that the writers shoehorned this stupid dating story in the earlier seasons because they aren't confident in the actual show. Plus, an actual good relationship in Bonnie and Marceline isn't driven as a main point of drama for the show because multiple countries they air refuse to show same-sex relationships. Not to mention the endless bullshit controversy that would come with this. So they pair Bonnie and Finn Finn together in a trashy attempt to add some character drama to latch onto. See, during this time on TV, shows like iCarly were still airing, shows all about character drama. And I like to use this as a nice example. Freddie and Carly in iCarly are not a good pairing, even showing Carly constantly not liking him. Yet, they ended up making them a couple for a single episode, one that doesn't go anywhere after it ends. Why, you may ask? Because the show's success depends on character drama like that, and Adventure Time, at least for now, seems to think they need something like that too. I mean, it doesn't help that this episode was literally nominated for an Emmy, and of course they're gonna choose Finn and Bonnie for that, especially at the time. You think iCarly would have been praised if Sam and Carly were a gay couple? The point I'm trying to make is that I love both these characters, especially as the show progresses, so getting this uncomfortable forced love story really hurts the show in my opinion. I mean, even to this day, there are morons who believe that they made Bonnie gay to screw over Finn. It just sucks. And the kiss is so very forced, man. To me, it almost reads as something Finn imagines, being that Bonnie doesn't acknowledge it, and neither does Finn for the remainder of the whole show. I would keep ranting, but I could make a whole hour video about my dislike for this. So to bullet point it, this relationship is forced, Bonnie should have had a serious talk with Finn at the end of the episode, and Jake should stop being such a moronic advisor for Finn's love life. Oh yeah, and fun fact, Bonnie's age seems to be determined on her mass rather than her actual age, meaning that Bonnie should technically still be an adult in this body. Yeah, I don't know, I don't think this episode was thought about too much. Definitely the weakest so far.
12 years dungeon. All of you, dungeon. 7 years, no trial.
This episode is a lumpy space princess story. Neptune has been missing since 2010. Anyway, Finn and Jake get an Amber Alert from LSP's parents, being tasked with finding her and giving her some sandwiches. The duo head into the forest, stumbling along some green villagers who had been chased out of their village by a monster. Finn decides they could take a quick side quest, assuming LSP would be easy to find. The duo brings the lost fat villagers back to the village, being told the monster resides in the old mill. Of course, the monster turns out to be LSP, having terrorized the village for food and shelter. LSP tells a very long story, fighting with her parents, then being taken in by a pack of wolves, then being chased out of the pack after making up some soap opera storyline about the wolves' social dynamics. Yada yada yada, LSP raids the village in desperation. The boys tell LSP she should apologize, LSP making amends by offering the villagers her sandwiches. The episode ends with LSP going to see her parents. This episode is just filler. The opening is actually really strong, giving us a cute Finn and Jake rap and even some funny moments. But when they find LSP, the episode really nosedives, her story just not being interesting enough in my opinion. LSP is also incredibly unlikable in this episode, but unlike Lemon Grab, she doesn't have comedy to save her from her annoyingness. Fun fact, LSP's parents have a newer, more polished design from their debut look in Season 1. Season 3 is starting to drop off a bit. Hopefully the next episode can pick up the quality.
This is gonna be easy as...
Easy as childbirth.
Yeah, okay.
Finn and Jake wake up paralyzed, none other than the Ice King appearing from downstairs. Ice King tells the duo that he froze them with a potion, wanting to bond with them without resistance. Jesus Christ. Ice King puts the freezing and unfreezing potion on the shelf, locking the corks with a key. While Gunter keeps screwing with the bottles, Finn gets a 1 million IQ idea, going inside his mind to summon an astral beast to save them. Ice King begins LARPing as Finn, Jake having to witness horrors beyond comprehension. College-grade photography. Gunter, what are you doing? Ice King locks up Gunter for his assault on Jake, tucking everyone into bed and then rambling about his crush on Bonnie. God damn, Bonnie's throwing up numbers. Finn, Ice King, Marceline, Ricardio, I guess everyone just likes candy. Anyway, Finn somehow summons an astral beast, a swarm of gentle butterflies. When Finn self-deprecates, Jake summons the butterflies to slap some sense into Finn. These two literally use the fucking force in this episode. Where was this for the Lich? The duo commands the butterflies to carry them to Ice King, also carrying a sword with them. Ice King relents, however accidentally uses the freezing potion on the butterflies and himself. The episode ends with Gunter pushing the unfreezing potion out a window. Okay, we're finally back on track. This episode is hilarious and charming. Something about Finn and Jake just casually using astral projection is just so funny to me. Ice King also walks the perfect balance of annoyance and humor. Not to mention Gunter being such a nice touch. I do wonder where Me-Mow was all episode though. And what about Neptune or Shelby? Fun fact, Finn can probably summon butterflies due to his past life as being a butterfly. Although we don't learn about this until season 5.
Now I'm gonna dress like Jake.
No!
Finn and Jake sit in an arena for wizard battle. A large variety of wizards coming to fight with exclusively magic. Of course, Ice King is competing too, probably because the grand prize is a kiss from Princess Bubblegum. Does this not seem extremely out of character? I already bitched about episode 5, so I'll just let this slide for now. Anyway, the duo sneak into the competition, Finn and Jake combining to create a wizard, not only to stop Ice King from cheating and winning, but also so Finn can earn the kiss himself. Because of course, when the battle starts, Finn and Jake decide to camp. Fucking noobs. As the duo hides, they come across a wizard by the name of Abracadaniel. Daniel and the duo decide decide to team up. Daniel explaining that he entered the battle for money, not a kiss. Eventually, the battle royale comes down to the duo, Daniel and Ice King. Abracadaniel ends up beating Ice King, turning his own cheats against him. In a sick twist, Daniel reveals he does want a kiss from Bonnie, Finn having to take him out. Finn and Jake sit in the locker rooms, Finn feeling guilty for cheating his way to victory. Finn goes out to kiss Bonnie, but is thankfully tripped by Rock Wizard. Finn and Jake being outed as cheaters. Bonnie ends up giving Finn a kiss anyway, then slapping him for ruining the sanctity of Wizard Battle. I hate this episode. I think you could have guessed that. Bonnie is brutally mischaracterized here. She isn't the type of person to put herself as a prize for something. She doesn't support magic in the later seasons, contradicting this episode, and she kisses Finn again for fuck's sake. And I don't know if this is true because I found it on Reddit, but even the Adventure Time crew themselves apparently regret the decision of making PB the prize. It's just really not her character. And this whole episode is just headache inducing. The concept could be so amazing, so cool, yet decides to focus on the sitcom kissing drama shit. Having her kiss him is just so goddamn stupid, especially because Bonnie doesn't actually like Finn romantically, rather just finds it endearing that the boy has a crush on her. Stop fucking kissing him! It makes it even worse that Finn and Bonnie never even become a relationship or anything. I'm glad they never do, but then what the fuck was the point of all this needless drama? To make us hate Bonnie? Anyway, enough with the ranting. Fun fact, this is the first time Huntress Wizard appears in the show, being the only woman to compete in battle. Another weak episode. I'm definitely starting to worry about this season.
Who deserved a kiss from a princess?
We get a new intro for this episode, everyone being gender swapped. We're introduced to Cake the Cat and Fionna the Human, obviously the duo's alternate universe selves, being women in this reality. The bubblegum in this universe, who we're gonna call Gary, invites Fionna to his ball as a friend. Suddenly, the Ice Queen attacks, Fionna and Cake kicking her ass. Well, supposedly anyway. Gary suddenly has a change of heart, asking Fionna on a date, and this is the point where you can tell something is very wrong. Fionna and Cake show up to the castle gardens, Gary arriving on the male version of Lady Rainicorn. I did not need to see these animals getting horny. The double date races to the Marshmallow Meadows, eventually riding Male Lady into the clouds. Gary sings a song to Fionna, a song that I really like, but is held back a bit by the circumstance. The date ends with Gary asking Fionna to come to the ball as his girlfriend. Huge red flag alert. Anyway, Fionna and Cake get to the ball, Gary leading Fionna up to his bedroom. Thankfully, this isn't about to turn into a crime scene, Gary revealing himself as the Ice Queen, the real Gary being frozen on the ceiling. Cake, thinking the worst, bursts into the room, finding Fionna, Gary, and the Ice Queen. After beating Ice Queen, the episode ends with Fionna and Cake gushing about Ice King. It's suddenly being revealed that Fionna and Cake were a fan fiction created by the Ice King, who was reciting it to Finn. Okay, I like this episode a lot. This episode really illustrates what I've been trying to say about Bonnie and Finn. The second Gary wants to date Fionna, you get this weird feeling that something is horribly wrong, because these two aren't meant to be like that. That's why the episode works so well in building up tension, which is why I don't understand the disconnect with the real Finn and Bonnie. If the writers know this relationship is wrong, and can even use it to tell an impersonation story, then why haven't they quit pairing Bonnie and Finn romantically? You could use the excuse that Ice King wrote this whole story, but I think my point still stands. Also, I find it so funny that Boy Finn is literally just a block of a person, and Fionna has all these details to her. They definitely made Fionna's design better in the spin-off. Anyway, this episode is really neat, and although they're currently a bit surface level, Fionna and Cake would go on to be amazing characters in their own spin-off after the main show concluded. Fun fact, this episode set a viewership record for the show at the time.
My magic tiara! My powers! And this is for yanking my heart guts!
Jake and Me-Mow catch Finn with his secret sentimental item, a piece of Bonnie's hair that he got from season 2. Uh-oh. Instead of psychologically evaluating Finn, Jake vows to keep the secret, showing Finn his own special item, his blanket from when he was a baby. Suddenly, the Door Lord pops through a magical door, stealing the trio's items and starting a chase. The three follow the Door Lord around Ooh. Door Lord stealing a kid's toy, something unspecified from Bonnie, and something unspecified from Marceline. The group eventually makes it to a valley, the Door Lord locking himself in a magical vault. The door bears some text. Reading that in order to open it, the group would have to become a band and sing a song to it. Immediately, we get some tension from Marceline and Bonnie, the group all taking up musical roles as they make a song. Bonnie with Me-Mow's game sound, Jake and his viola, Finn and beatboxing, and Marceline on bass, of course. Marceline begins to sing a morbid, however flirtatious song about Bonnie, and when Bonnie scolds her for the song being inappropriate, Marceline shreds into a new song. Marceline digs into Bonnie, the song about their rivalry, and Marceline admitting that she still wanted to make amends, even if they were at a point of hatred. The door almost opens right there, but Marceline fumbles the last bits of the song, having opened herself up a little too much. The next attempt is led by Bonnie, her more calculated approach making everyone stress out. Bonnie and Marceline bicker stickers some more, deciding to leave completely. Also, so does Jake, but he's playing this weird bad boy character or something. As Finn watches his friends go, he begins to sing himself, singing about how much he values their friendships. The door slowly begins responding to Finn's song. Finn, realizing the truth was what made the songs open the door. He begins an amazing song, everyone joining in as he sings about his best friends in the world. Doesn't mention Me-Mow in the song, but I guess it's implied or something. Finn's song manages to open the door, the group teaching the door lord a lesson. When they find all their things, it's revealed that Bonnie had lost a shirt, one that Marceline had given her a long time ago, so nobody's gonna talk to Finn about his. Anyway, the episode ends with the group realizing Marceline hadn't been stolen from. She just came along to hang out with friends. Okay, this episode is absolutely amazing. I would go as far to say it's the best episode we've gotten in the whole series yet. Marceline's song is killer, and Finn's song is super sweet and catchy. They really show off the musical talent of everyone in this episode. This is also the first episode that really shows Marceline and Bonnie's history, both flirting with each other a few times. Fun fact, there was a controversy surrounding a show called Mathematical, which was a recap show for Adventure Time. Apparently, there was an episode on what was missing, in which they talked about Marceline and Bonnie's romantic relationship. I can't really understand why there was a controversy. All I really know is that they played into the fandom and acted like it was confirmed they were dating or something. They used some fan art in the video too. Apparently, the guy responsible for the video got fired, and Mathematical got cancelled over this. Unfortunately, this really just seems like censorship, and knowing that Marceline and Bonnie eventually were a couple in the show just makes it so sad to look back on these earlier days. Big thank you to Dan Rickmers and all the other Adventure Time employees who saw this was wrong and tried to push past the censorship. You guys are true heroes. Bubbling rules anyway. Please watch this episode, or at least listen to the amazing songs on Spotify or something.
It, means a lot to me.
But you never wore it.
Dude, I wear it all the time! As pajamas.
After Jake makes a TikTok health bowl for breakfast, Finn starts bitching, saying he'd rather have an apple pie from Tree Trunks. The duo travel to Tree Trunks' house, only to find it ransacked, Tree Trunks lying unconscious on the floor. She tells the duo someone had robbed her apples, the boys vowing to track down the robber. After some investigating, which included finding Raggedy Princess in a divot, Jake realizes they should check the Candy Tavern for any connections to the robbery. The trio get to the tavern, dirtying themselves to come off as legitimate criminals. Finn asks the bartender where he can find some apples, the trio being led outside and jumped and threatened. How a garbage can contained Jake's powers, I'll never know. Anyway, the trio heads to the gang's headquarters, impersonating gang members and being led to the apples. Turns out, the apples were a code word for diamonds. The trio now involved in something they definitely didn't want to be in. Finn, Jake, and Tree Trunks get tied up. Again, how is Jake contained like this? The gang decide to feed the three to a pig, only to be interrupted by the enemy gang. As the gangs fight, Jake uses his powers finally, escaping along with freeing the pig. The four get back to Tree Trunks' house, Mr. Pig using his spidey sense to sense apples in Tree Trunks' closet. Lo and behold, they were there, Tree Trunks turning herself in as the robber. Banana guards come to arrest her, but then Finn connects the dots in his head. Because Raggedy Princess was in the divot, she couldn't be the scarecrow for the birds. The birds then stealing apples from Tree Trunks and flying to their nest on the roof. The apples then falling into a hole on the roof and into the closet. How does Tree Trunks survive in winter, or even rain? This episode is cute. Tree Trunks promoted herself from predator to moron, so she's fine. I like this episode for the most part, but there's so many glaring plot holes I can't even make my brain ignore it. Like, why does Tree Trunks have a hole in her roof and on the top of her closet? How did the house get ransacked? Who assaulted Raggedy Princess, and why has no one helped her out of the divot? Justice for Raggedy. Fun fact, this episode drops a lot more hints on Jake's criminal past, but somehow he doesn't know the apples are code for diamonds. Overall, a nice episode, but nothing amazing.
What I hear is a whole pickload of apples inside that closet. They sound scared.
Finn and Jake get an invite to Luigi's mansion, being given Venetian masks and code names. The duo spots Me-Mow, Bonnie, Cinnamon Bun, and LSP in the same getups. Oh god, please don't be an orgy. Bonnie spots a note taped to Cinnamon Bun's back, Finn reading it to come to a horrible realization. It was a Reddit post. The post said that a spirit would possess one of the party members. That possessed person then killing everyone else in the house. Oh yeah, and no leaving or you'll be instantly killed. Of course, Cinnamon Bun doesn't listen, being murdered when the lights go out. Wait a second. Yep, this is another FusiTube murder mystery prank. The group pulls a Scooby-Doo, splitting up and looking for candles. When Jake and Me-Mow head to the basement, Me-Mow is snatched by something, Jake immediately abandoning him. The remaining members call an Among Us meeting in the dining room, the real ghost suddenly revealing itself. Bonnie gets melted and Finn breaks, explaining it was originally a prank to get Jake back for Mystery Train in Season 2. LSP suddenly gets Luigi's mansion into a painting, the duo left to run for their lives. Jake ends up getting taken too, Finn hiding in a room and coming face to face with a ghost, what looks to be a monster woman. Finn runs to the observatory of the mansion, looking out the window dome to the crashing waves of the ocean. Thankfully, it's revealed the ghost is yet again a Jake prank, Lady Rainicorn being the spirit and using her body shifting powers to pick every killed person up. Finn asks Jake about the monster lady, Jake brushing it off as Finn bluffing to try and prank him. The episode ends with Finn putting whatever he saw in his mind vault. This episode is awesome, excelling at the murder mystery plot even better than Mystery Train did. It's so cool to see the actual threat instead of just lights cutting, and the tension is better created with seeing the characters die in unique ways, like Bonnie melting. Also, throwing in the cliffhanger that Finn saw an actual ghost is delightfully spooky. Fun fact, Jake's glow stick was originally a lighter. However, it was changed to a glow stick for some reason. He still calls it a lighter, however. Double fun fact, this is the first appearance of Shoko, but I'm not gonna tell you who she is yet.
What did I write to you on your happy birthday card 2 years ago? Word for word.
Finn, there's no way I would remember that.
I remember that.
Finn, Jake, Lady, and LSP all run through the Candy Kingdom. The Candy People once again zombies. Bonnie meets with the group in the main hall of the Candy Castle, explaining that once again she had accidentally created zombies with an experiment. Well, it was actually Cinnamon Bun's fault, but she should have known to watch him closer. Anyway, Bonnie manages to escape, but Cinnamon Bun goes on to infect the entire kingdom. Bonnie says she can make an antidote, but zombies suddenly smash through the window, biting Bonnie and turning her as well. In her final words, she tells Finn to let science do the work, the group running further into the Candy Castle. The group uses Bonnie's formula sheets to create different antidotes. Pretty sure these papers are all instructions for a single antidote, but whatever. The group goes and tries their antidotes on the zombies, Finn's potion making them grow wings, LSP's potion giving them Kim Kardashian lips, to which she goes outside and gets bit trying to lick it up. Then Jake tries the final potion, the antidote making all the zombies muscular. Fuck's sake. The trio barricades themselves back in the lab, a zombie that was camping in a locker ending up biting Jake a bit. Jake uses his stretching powers to keep the zombification at bay, Finn scrambling to make an antidote. Jake locks himself in the emergency shower, turning fully into a zombie. Turns out Jake's Riz is unmatched even in zombie mode. Lady letting him out and getting herself bit. Finn grabs Bonnie's lab rat, locking himself in the shower as the zombie horde pounded on the glass. Wait, how come nobody can just open it from outside now? Lady just did. Anyway, Finn realizes the lab rat's name is Science, Bonnie having told him to rely on the rat science, not actual science. She couldn't have just said the lab rat. Science makes the right antidote for Finn dousing himself in it and letting all the zombies bite him. This plan actually works, the episode ending with everyone saved and Science the lab rat being given an award. This episode is a good watch. Like every piece of zombie media, there's a million plot holes here, but I'm gonna ignore them because it'll just make it 10 times more enjoyable. It's cool to see a sequel episode to the premiere of the series, and the zombies are far more intimidating here. Fun fact, there's a scientific parasite in Bonnie's coat pocket in this episode. These things aren't even mentioned at all in the show, I don't believe. Basically, they're little dudes who hang out in smart people's pockets, as they feed on intelligent brainwaves. You can catch them throughout the show in intelligent characters' pockets, and apparently they even predate the Mushroom War. Weird.
Finn the human!
Yes.
Would you please move out of the way? Science the rat!
Susan Strong breaks into the duo's treehouse, making her first appearance since season 2. Susan requests Finn's help, Finn immediately accepting, but Jake being a bit more skeptical, on account of her potentially being a fish person and having tried to eat the Candy Kingdom. The trio head back to the bunker, the fish people gathered in the underground junkyard to watch the trio. Susan tells the boys that her and the fish people once lived in a place called Beautopia, only being driven out by monsters called lubglubs. After Susan nearly waterboards Finn, the three get onto a raft, cruising through the underground river. Jake sings a charming tune, the raft suddenly being washed down a whirlpool. When the raft comes to a new part of the river, Susan makes everyone stand completely still, an inflatable floating by the raft. The trio nearly get crushed by some Mario Maker style bullshit, Jake desperate to bail on the mission after Susan's continuous craziness. They finally make it to Beautopia, coming face to face with the lubglubs. More inflatables. Jake decides that he's had enough of this delusion, popping one of the inflatables only to reveal an inky monster inside of it. A battle ensues, Jake using the lamp to reignite the city heart, killing the lubglubs. The fish people return to Beautopia, Susan allowing Finn to know what species she truly is, even if the viewer still gets left in the dark. The episode ends with Finn and Jake floating away on the raft. This episode is really sweet. It's nice to see that Susan isn't evil, just uneducated about the surface world. I love that Finn gets to have this connection with someone like him, even if she may be a different species altogether. Finn getting to know her true species is a really heartwarming moment, and I'm glad that for now, only Finn has that knowledge. Susan Strong is a character that you can't help but like. It's too bad we won't be seeing her for a long time after this. Fun fact, a lubglub chews on a skull with a hat that's eerily similar to Fiona's, but obviously it's not her, just a fish person.
Oh, so I just toss in here? Pretty straightforward. Okay, well, here I go. 1, 2, 3.
A deer goes running through the Candy Kingdom, causing havoc as Finn and Jake chase after it. When the duo catches the deer, Jake gets thrown into the dirt and Finn gets his legs broken, then being slammed into a wall. Finn wakes up in a hospital bed, not a single person in sight. Finn wheels himself into town square, still finding no one around. Luckily, Finn ends up finding Jake rummaging through the trash, a bandage on his head from the nasty fall he took. Jake explains to Finn that everyone was hiding for his birthday, Lady Rainicorn apparently having planned it all. Jake tells Finn to act unaware, assuming the surprise would come when they least expect it. Finn goes to collect sticks for a hobo fire, taking a shower in a fountain. That night, as the duo sat by the fire, Finn questions Jake's surprise party theory. Finn's doubt upsets Jake. Jake going to lie down in the tent. Suddenly, the deer appeared over the Candy Kingdom wall. Finn then getting his attention drawn to an open manhole. Whispers coming through it. Finn runs back to the tent for Jake. Jake revealing that they'd been waiting a whole 6 months for his surprise party. Uh-oh. There's debate on this within the community, but personally I think Jake is lying here. Not only because Finn's legs would have been potentially healed by now, but also because it would be impossible for the Candy Kingdom to go 6 months without anyone checking on it. Anyway, Finn realizes Jake is insane and makes a break for it. Jake catching him and tying him up. Finn tricks Jake into untying him, once again making a break for it. Finn's cast breaks on his legs, and you may think Finn running on them indicates that they're fully healed, but it's confirmed by Finn later in the episode that they're still very much broken. Guess the adrenaline carried him through it. Finn runs through the sewer, finding a horrifying sight. The candy people, including Bubblegum, were trapped in a sap-like substance in the sewer. Finn accuses Jake of doing it, punching him back to sanity. Turns out Jake didn't actually do it, Peppermint Butler revealing it was someone else. The deer suddenly appearing again. Holy mother of God. The duo frees the candy people, killing the deer Darth Maul style. The episode ends with everyone returning to the surface. Wow, this episode is disturbing. Honestly, it's a really solid episode even with its confusing timeline. Jake definitely steals the show with his insanity, making the watch far more tense and uncomfortable. This episode has sparked so many interesting theories, including ones like Bonnie implying she was Okay, fuck this shit. It's a kid's show, guys. I don't really want to think about the horrors this episode made me witness. Fun fact, this is the first time we see Finn bathe, contradicting his remark about not bathing and too young.
Whatever.
Finn and Jake sit in Wildberry Princess's kitchen, eating some meat pies she cooked up. Let's not talk about this. Apparently, the duo is here on a protection mission, having been informed of a death threat on Wildberry Princess. WBP shows the boys a letter from the Guild of Assassins, Finn vowing to keep her safe. I guess Jake does too. Anyway, Finn takes the princess to talk somewhere else. Jake suddenly finding a little cat in his pie. The cat, Me-Mow, says that she's the assassin, crawling into Jake's nose with a syringe of poison. Me-Mow demands that Jake kill the princess for her. Jake doing a masterclass and faking the princess's death by dressing a bag of meat up with her crown. Me-Mow was about to leave Jake's nose, but then 2 berry guards blow it. Me-Mow injecting a bit of the poison into Jake as punishment. Jake now has 30 minutes to live, but can't say anything to Finn because Me-Mow may inject the rest of the poison. Jake once again does a masterclass, getting Finn to play their mom's lullaby and then plugging his ears. Me-Mow falls asleep in Jake's nose, but unfortunately Jake can't convince Finn about what was happening. Jake throws Finn out a window, trying to get the antidote from Me-Mow. Unfortunately, Finn comes back and wakes Me-Mow up, Jake being injected with even more poison. Jake brings WBP and Finn to a cliff, preparing to team kill the princess. Luckily, a bird catches sight of Jake's sausage earplugs, dive bombing him and knocking Me-Mow out of his nose. Finn has a badass 1v1 with Me-Mow, the antidote being destroyed. Thankfully, the duo uses their brains for once, Jake growing so big that his liver could filter the poison on its own. The episode ends with Me-Mow falling off a cliff, being saved by landing on a bird. This episode is badass. I know the concept of this episode might be slightly cliche, but it works for me personally. I love that Jake is actually intelligent in this episode with his plans. Just wish he'd be smart like this in other episodes. The Finn and Me-Mow fight steals the show for me, and Me-Mow definitely earns her screen time here. Fun fact, Me-Mow was actually fan-made by a kid named Gunnar Gilmore. Apparently, there was a fan submission contest to have a character featured in Adventure Time, which Gunnar won. He's also the creator of this episode's title card. Also, I just realized it might be pronounced Gunner. Whatever, kid, you got your own character.
Oh, cats go meow.
Meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow.
Surprisingly, this episode isn't about Finn, Jake, or any character that we know. It's about a snow golem. We watch as the snow golem prepares for the day, going out with his wheelbarrow to collect some pears. The golem comes close to the border of the Fire and Ice Kingdom, running into a pack of fire wolves. After a fight, the golem is left to repair his wheelbarrow, finding a fire pup biting one of the wheels. The pup follows the golem around, even trailing him back to his house. The golem decides to take the pup in for the night, knowing it would probably be in danger outside without its pack. We watch as the golem and the pup bond, the golem figuring out what the pup can eat and what it finds amusing. Of course, after a while in the Ice Kingdom, the fire wolf pup can't survive, needing its usual environment. In the morning, the snow golem travels with the pup to the Fire Kingdom, risking his life to bring the pup back to its pack. The episode ends with the firewolf pup coming back to play with the golem, the pack of firewolves establishing a truce. This is the kind of episode that really illustrates why Adventure Time is one of the best cartoons ever. To be able to tell a story about the creatures in Ooh that we never get to see, and make that story absolutely gorgeous, is an admirable accomplishment. There's basically no dialogue in this episode, yet we're able to learn so much about these two creatures and how they bond. My only gripe is that they felt the need to add a Finn and Jake B-plot, but I feel like this episode would hold so much more weight if it was the first without any mainline characters. Fun fact, Jake wears Ice King's crown in this episode, however he isn't affected by the craziness. This is most likely because the crown already has a living host in Ice King. Very pretty episode. Jake floats in space, seeing a banana man in a rocket. Jake runs out of breath, the cosmic owl cawing at him before Jake woke up in a cold sweat. He rushes to tell Finn about his cosmic owl dream, the cosmic owl being an entity that, if seen, guarantees a dream becoming reality at some point. The duo has a quick discussion, then looking out the window to see none other than Banana Man. After Banana Man walks off, Finn gets the brilliant idea to cheat the universe and save Jake. Jake, being the fatalist he is, tries to tell Finn to accept his death, whenever it may be. Obviously, Finn doesn't comply, the duo running off to stalk the Banana Man. The Banana Man watches his Marky Mark workout tape, Finn sending a warning shot to scare the Banana Man into moving away. He did aim perfectly for his head though. After a few misses, the boys come to the Banana Man's backyard. Seeing that the rocket ship had already been built, Jake decides to go full-blown moron, getting in the rocket and preparing for his death. Fortunately, the rocket doesn't have enough dynamite to blast off, the rocket failing and sending the duo and Banana Man into an underground cave. We see Jake's croak dream come to life, but instead of space, it's just underwater in the cave. Finn tries to support Jake for his death, but he starts to lose oxygen, Jake kicking into gear and swimming up to the surface. The duo theorizes about Jake's dream, wondering if it was destined to happen again. The episode ends with Finn playfully chasing Jake around. Banana Man is in critical condition. This episode is weird, but honestly I love it. Finn and Jake's characters are so well portrayed here. Finn refusing to let things go without a fight, and Jake being relaxed and ready for whatever fate has in store. This is the same conflict the pair ends up having in Distant Lands, and it's just nice to look back on this episode and see how loyal the writers kept to their differing views on life and death. Fun fact, Finn somehow casts fire with his bare hands in this episode, adding to the infinite list of powers that the duo only possess for a single episode.
Stop saying all this crazy nonsense. It's making me messed up. I'm 13. You're messing me up.
This episode is a two-parter Christmas special. Jake takes Finn on a scavenger hunt, the duo digging up some VHS tapes that Jake had buried. Finn says he's seen the tapes before, having watched the Ice King hide them away in a junkyard. The duo decide to watch the tapes that afternoon, and oh my god, they're idiots. Finn and Jake plug the tapes into Me-Mow, watching hours of Ice King's diary entries, hoping to find some evil secrets. As the trio sifts through the tapes, Ice King finds one of the flyers. He obviously flies to the treehouse, the trio ignoring his banging on the door and continuing with the tapes. Me-Mow speeds the tapes up, Ice King sounding like Fred Ficklehorn. After a while, Jake theorizes the Ice King may be talking in secret code, the trio calling Bonnie for assistance. Before they could get any info from her, Ice King intercepts the line, failing at impersonating Bonnie and getting the cold shoulder from Finn. The episode ends with the Ice King firing a blizzard at the treehouse. If I'm gonna be honest, this episode drags. Ice King is amusing on the tapes, but having several minute-long scenes of watching him doing something mundane just gets boring. I will give it a slight benefit, as watching a boring Ice King tape is far more enjoyable than LSP's story from earlier this season, but it's still pretty lame. Hopefully part 2 picks it up, because it honestly feels like the writers had no idea how to fill this episode's time frame. Fun fact, this is the first episode that implies Me-Mow has met Ice King. I'm surprised it took so long.
You can play this, right, Me-Mow?
Yes, Finn. It goes in my butt.
Oh.
We pick up right where we left off, Ice King burying the treehouse in snow. As the trio gets festive and warm, Ice King stalks through the window, seeing that they were watching his secret tapes. Me-Mow thinks she might have found a code in Ice King's tears, but it only draws a picture of Gunter. Meanwhile, Ice King sics an army of snowmen on the treehouse. However, they begin to attack him by accident. Ice King breaks into the treehouse, him and the snowmen searching around. Surprisingly, the Ice King tapes begin to get interesting, the trio hiding under Finn's bed as they watch Ice King perform the Fries song, equipped with a wig that makes him look like Marceline. This suggests the characters have a deeper connection, despite having never interacted on screen yet. Finally, Ice King finds the trio, Finn and Jake duking it out while Me-Mow plays the last of the tapes. The last tape shows a man by the name of Simon Petrikov, a man who reveals he's in possession of the Ice King's crown. The tape details Simon slowly being corrupted by the crown, his fiancée Betty having disappeared after he put the crown on. We see Simon slowly turn into the Ice King, his skin turning blue and his hair going white. This wasn't another Ice King, this was the Ice King, the one we know. Ice King seems to not even understand the significance of the tape, the duo deciding to be more empathetic now that they knew his deeper story. A man trapped by frigid insanity. Finn gives back the tapes, agreeing to have a festive night with Ice King once every year. The episode ends in a really sweet moment. Finn, Jake, Ice King, Me-Mow, Bonnie, Marceline, Cinnamon Bun, Peppermint Butler, Phil, Candy Cane Man, a Gumdrop Girl, Lady, LSP, two guys, Tree Trunks and Mr. Pig, a two-headed duck, the Tart Toter, a Punch Bowl, a Booger, Gunter, and finally Shelby would all get together for a Christmas-like night. Nepter is still missing. Unlike the first part, I really enjoyed this episode. The Ice King tapes actually hold weight this time, and most of the runtime consists of different scenes than just watching the tapes. It's genuinely sad to figure out the Ice King's true origins, his obsession with princesses coming from losing his fiancée, and seeing him apologize to the camera for what he might do is heartbreaking. Paired with some genuinely funny moments, this episode really pulls the weight of the two-parter. Fun fact, Simon says he bought the crown in Scandinavia, not only showing the crown's ancientness, but also that once upon a time the land of Oo was actually Earth as we know it, up until the Mushroom War presumably.
He's sneaking in through the chimney.
The element of surprise.
Finn and Jake go to a jam session at Marceline's house, finding a note on the door. The note is from Marceline, saying she had to go out for a bit, but she'd be back quickly. Also telling the duo not to enter the house. Of course, we wouldn't have an episode if Finn and Jake were respectful of boundaries. The boys decide to play hide and seek in the cave, Jake immediately going to hide in Marceline's house. Finn goes to get Jake out of the house, but Marceline suddenly returns, the duo having to hide in the closet upstairs. After a failed paper airplane attempt, which lights the kitchen on fire, the duo hears the first take of a Marceline song, one that details her loneliness. Jake tries to dig his way out, but then a spider comes through the wall, going into Marceline's room and smashing a lamp. The duo has to escape being caught a few more times, Finn seeing horrors beyond his imagination. Finally, Marceline decides to sleep, the duo making a break for it. Of course, Marceline catches the boys, both cowering in fear at the consequences. Surprisingly, Marceline lets them go, revealing she hangs out in their treehouse all the time. This episode is so funny, the eyes of this season for sure. Although the entire episode is basically one setting, we managed to be entertained the entire time. Every joke lands here, and it's a testament to the Adventure Time team. I can't help but think about the kitchen being on fire the entire episode though, we never see it go out. Fun fact, everything in Marceline's fridge is red. Obviously because she eats shades of red. She has eggs too though for some reason.
I can hear both of you.
Disguise yourself, fool!
Finn and Jake grab a big book in the library, an encyclopedia on the history of rainicorns. Finn embodies the perfect TikTok user, unable to read 7 words without being mind-numbingly bored. Jake says he needs to study the book, explaining that if him and Lady have kids, he'd like to share their culture with them. This is what's called foreshadowing in the biz. Anyway, Jake keeps ignoring Finn's distractions, intent on reading the book. Finn wanders the library, suddenly coming across paper knights called pagelings. The leader of the pagelings, Paper Pete, explains to Finn that they were in war with creatures called Maldos, slug-like things that attack and eat books. Finn keeps trying to show Jake the pagelings, but he ignores it all, making this episode a Finn solo mission. Finn witnesses a mini battle between pagelings and Moldos, coming up with a plan to get Jake's attention. He trails the Moldos to their lair, pretending to have captured Paper Pete for them. In a flash, he grabs Mildwyn, the leader of the Moldos, along with a group of the creatures, running back to Jake. Finn throws the Moldos on Jake, watching as his brother is literally eaten alive. Finn decides to offer his shirt to the Moldos in exchange for peace between Moldos and pagelings, Mildwyn accepting and Jake being saved. The episode ends with the duo walking into the sunset, Jake admitting that he barely read a single page of the book. This episode is literally just the annoying little brother episode. There's some pretty funny moments in here, but the Moldos are disgusting. It's a pretty bland episode, but I wouldn't call it bad. Just a little on the filler side. Fun fact, this episode was originally titled World War II for some reason. Wonder why they changed that.
Where can I find ways to solve problems in a library? Books? Books!
This is the Jake hires a bunch of escorts episode. Finn and Jake have broken feet from an incident involving jumping off birds. The clown escort's helping them get better. Finn is obviously uncomfortable with the clowns, getting assaulted by 3 of them. Finn runs away into the forest, determined to find a healing cyclops that he'd read about in the Enchiridion. Its tears supposed to heal anyone. Finn comes across multiple challenges on his journey, magical plants continuing to tell him what he can and can't do. Finn beats every challenge his own way, reclaiming his control after getting PTSD flashbacks of the clowns. Eventually, Finn goes too far, accidentally hurting a hairy man and his wife. After a moment of reflection, paired with a beautifully drawn scene and a song by Finn, the Cyclops shows itself. Finn beats the Cyclops, healing everyone he hurt along his journey with its tears. The episode ends with Finn returning with the Cyclops head, Jake still wanting to heal the clown way. I really don't know how to feel about this episode. This episode seems to be an analogy for the journey of a sexual assault victim, reclaiming their control after losing it in a horrific moment. I hate to bring that up, but I really don't see how else this episode could be interpreted. The clown scenes make me so disgusted, and I personally can't tell if this episode is out of line or not for the undertones. It sends a good message of speaking up for yourself when you're uncomfortable, but at the same time, Finn is literally pinned down and assaulted for everyone to watch. I know a lot of people really like this one, but honestly it just makes my skin crawl. Fun fact, Finn would have to be swimming at 13.12 miles per hour to cross the rest of the river as fast as he did, on top of dealing with eels and acid water. Yep, Finn Solo's fiction.
Hello, dummy police. Yes, there's a strange dummy lurking around my house. Okay, yes, thank you. Goodbye.
What?
Finn and Jake sit around a campfire, eating hot dogs with soft cheese, which Jake refuses. Suddenly, Ghost Princess appears, explaining that she wasn't able to move on to the 50th Dead World without finding out how she died. Unfinished business type deal. The duo decides to help Ghost Princess out, going with her to the graveyards. Finn and Jake do good cop, bad cop, interrogating a ghost by the name of Boyleby. After Boyleby insults the princess, another ghost steps in to defend her honor, a spirit by the name of Clarence. His kindness makes Ghost Princess swoon. The pair hitting it off as Finn and Jake go to the next graveyard. Finn begins to grave rob, finding a skeleton with half a dagger in his casket. Clarence takes GP on a theater date, the duo getting themselves into trouble with some bad ghosts. Luckily, Clarence comes to save the day, the ghost laying off because the duo was with him. GP calls off the investigation, now feeling happy to be a ghost with Clarence. As the ghosts go to bang in a mausoleum, Jake shows Finn all the loot he snagged from the graves. Finn picks up the broken dagger they found earlier, realizing it had a name engraved in it. The duo digs GP's grave up, finding the other half, the full engraving reading a name, Clarence. The duo burst into the mausoleum, cock-blocking Clarence and accusing him. The reveal makes Ghost Princess remember how she died. Clarence and her being on opposite sides of a war. Ghost Princess died in Clarence's arms, the two being lovers. GP forgives Clarence, trying to take him to the 50th Dead World with her. Unfortunately, he couldn't ascend, still needing to figure out how he died. Jake suddenly remembers something about Clarence, recalling a gas station incident where Clarence ate too much soft cheese and exploded. The episode ends with the ghost couple ascending together, Jake finally retrying the soft cheese. This episode is amazing. Episodes where Finn and Jake help a seemingly unimportant character are always nice, especially when the character turns out to have such a gorgeous story. Two lovers on opposing kingdoms, both dying because of each other, and finally being reunited in the afterlife. This sort of thing is exactly why Adventure Time works, making beautiful stories throughout each part of Ooo. It really makes the land of Ooo seem vast and amazing, and does an excellent job highlighting Finn and Jake's heroism. Fun fact, this would be the last appearance of Ghost Princess and Clarence, up until the couple's return as a cameo in Distant Lands.
More beautiful than I could imagine.
Are you talking about Spirit Wind?
I'm talking about you, Princess.
Finn, Jake, and Me-Mow sit in the boat on the top of the treehouse. Suddenly, Finn spots a sparkly spot on the top of the treehouse, chasing them around. The sparkles lead the duo to the attic, finding a holo message player. The holo message is from Joshua, the duo's deceased father. The message had been recorded when the duo were babies, Joshua revealing he built a dungeon for the boys. Joshua says the next part was for Jake only, Finn covering his ears. Joshua tells Jake he made the dungeon so Finn could toughen up, knowing he wouldn't be alive forever. Joshua tells the duo at the end of the dungeon the family sword was held, made of a demon's blood that Joshua quickly casts away with an odd chant. The duo goes to the dungeon, overcoming food monsters and finding another message from Joshua, in which Joshua tries to get Jake to bully Finn into toughness. The duo walks through a beautifully drawn flower room, Jake hesitantly calling Finn a baby. The duo come across a trio of gorgeous women, caressing their faces and telling them to eat the fruit laid out on the table. Finn, obviously affected by the harshness of his dad and brother, decides to stay back and be killed by the fruit babes, Jake having to carry him to safety. The next tape the duo finds shows Joshua being pulled into the next room by a monster, the boys jumping into action and running in. They find the demon blood sword chained up in a room with an evil monster, one that looks like a Dark Toon from Rayman. Jake plays the final holo message, making a trap remix of Joshua being proud of Finn. This gives Finn the strength to beat the monster, the episode ending with the duo going back home. New sword in hand. I love this one. This episode really highlights the tough love dynamic a lot of fathers have with their kids. Their want for their children to be strong ending up hurting them in the process. There's some stunning shots in this episode, paired with solid humor and a sweet ending. Joshua's last message to Finn genuinely makes me tear up too. Fun fact, the hot dog and hamburger monster shout an unintelligible battle cry, which when reversed says, "Mix your blood with ours, it'll be cool."
It's because you finished the dungeon that I made for you. I'm proud of you. You're gonna do great things in this world. I love you, son.
Finn, Jake, and Bonnie sit on the treehouse roof. Bonnie showing the duo her new water firework invention. When Jake compliments her invention, she gives him a pet, allowing Jake to rest his head on her lap. Finn decides to go turbo cringe mode, laying his head on her lap too, which Bonnie rejects. When Bonnie leaves the treehouse, Finn goes inside to get his piece of her hair, creating a mini shrine of her to lay around. Me-Mow puts on a game to try and help, but Finn breaks into song, singing about his crush on Bonnie and the hole in his heart at her rejections. Jake decides to go find Finn a new love interest, hoping it would solve his aching heart. Jake runs into Flambeau telling Jake about the Flame Princess of the Fire Kingdom, a princess Finn's age. Flambeau brings Jake to the Fire Kingdom, giving him fire resistance and leading him into the castle. Jake pretends to be a messenger for Finn, telling the Fire King that Finn was a prince who had interest in his daughter. Jake plays a new rendition of Finn's Bonnie song, wooing Flame Princess into being interested in Finn. The Flame King tells Jake to be gone, and in a last-ditch effort, Jake morphs part of his body to look like Finn. Flame King still banishes Jake, to which Jake begins having a weird fight with the fake Finn that's his body. He also tells the fake Finn that Bonnie's too old for him, which, like, holy fuck, man. Tell the real Finn that! Anyway, Jake pretends to have Finn kill him, the Flame King impressed with the barbaric display. play. Flame Princess is released from her glass prison, Jake suddenly having second thoughts when it's revealed that Flame Princess is pure evil. Jake runs back to the treehouse, Flame Princess close on his tail. The treehouse begins burning, ruining Finn's shrine and making him go tier 3 Pokimane sub angry. Flame Princess accidentally activates Bonnie's water fireworks, putting out the fire and hurting her. Finn catches FP as she falls off the roof, using Bonnie's hair to stick him to the wall. I must say, it's a clever bit of symbolism. Anyway, Flame Princess reignites inside the treehouse, getting mad at Finn's apparent rejection, which was actually Jake. Finn tells FP that he does like her, Flame Princess taking off into the night, leaving the season finale as a cliffhanger. I know what you're thinking, but I'm actually not going to rant about the Finn and Bonnie drama, especially because she clearly draws a line in the sand at the start of the episode. It's easy to relate to Finn's heartbreak in this episode, especially if you've ever had a childhood crush on someone older than you. I think that's why Bonnie gets so villainized with this stuff. Flame Princess is an intriguing character off the bat, and I'm glad Finn has a new love interest now. We're finally getting on the right track. All this paired with some pretty songs makes for a solid finale to season 3. Fun fact, apparently this is Jeremy Shadows, the voice actor of Finn's favorite episode. Odd choice, Jeremy.
What's wrong with me, huh? You don't like me?
I like you.
What's wrong with you?
Adventure Time Season 3 was a roller coaster. We got some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows we've had yet. Overall, I would say it's a solid season. Now, without further ado, let's get into the ranking. Wizard Battle, The Monster, Holly Jolly Secrets Part 1, Another Way, Too Young, Apple Thief, Paper Pete, Conquest of Cuteness, From Bad to Worse, Morituri Te Salutamus, Adventure Time with Fionna and Cake, The Creeps, The New Frontier, Jake vs. Me-Mow, Still, Hitman, Incendium, Ghost Princess, Holly Jolly Secrets Part 2, Beautopia, Dad's Dungeon, No One Can Hear You, Thank You, Memory of a Memory, Marceline's Closet, What Was Missing. And that was Adventure Time Season 3 ranked, by yours truly. If you made it this far in the video, please subscribe, like, comment, whatever you want to do. This animation is super long, so I kind of just have to talk over it until it's over. Subscribe, please. Just do it. I'm working on Season 4 right now, so thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.